Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Angelisa and on this channel we talk about books. And today I'm going to be talking about, I think what they're called are like TBR veterans, like books that have been on my TBR for a very long time. So whether that be like a physical copy or just like I've marked it on Goodreads as want to read for so long ago, but I've just never bought it or never picked it up for some reason. Got distracted by other books or something probably. But yeah, we're gonna go through these. I have some physical ones, like I said. So I think it's best if I talk about these like by genre. So first I'm gonna talk about like contemporary romances and like literary fictions. So the first one that I have is, it's kind of a funny story by Ned Vizzini. So if you look at this book, I've literally had it for so long. Like it's kind of actually battered from just like being moved around, and the pages are like yellow compared to my other ones. Oh my goodness, the font in this is huge. Why haven't I read this? Wait, there's a bookmark in here. I don't even recognize. Maybe I started reading this and like when I was young. Anyway, this book is so old that it's like back when books were like $10.99. Oh my god, look, you can see the bending here. It's so bad. Anyway, I want to read this. I didn't realize I probably had started reading it though. Interesting. I think I'm gonna read this soon, but anyway, I've had this for as long as I can remember, to be honest. As long as I've ever had books, I've had this book. So I want to read this. If you don't know, this is also a movie. I'm pretty sure it's about this guy who like gets sent to a hospital and he meets this girl there, and there's like other characters there that are really funny, and yeah, he's able to like figure out his anxiety and like where it all stems from, and like it is like a YA, so yeah, do with that what you will. But I do think that like parents should read this book. Older teens, like it's definitely like, even though it's YA, it's like older teens more because there is like some very sensitive topics in this, so definitely like look up trigger warnings. My throat is like. Next we have The Spanish Love Deception. First of all, this was on like my TBR since I started reading again like in 2021 or whatever. And I remember like after I read like some Elle Kennedy, like some other like, you know, big books, this was one of them that I wanted to read next, and then I just got so distracted by other books and like mystery thrillers and like all these genres because I was just reading romance. I completely forgot about this book, and then The American Roommate came out, and so I bought Spanish Love Deception, and I never ended up reading it, so I definitely want to read this soon. I've heard it's really good. It's similar to The Hating Game. I didn't like The Hating Game. I've heard that if you didn't like The Hating Game that like you'll like this one better. So yeah, I want to read this one because it's been on my TBR for way too long. Okay, next I have The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This book was the first Christina Lauren book that I ever heard of, so I wanted to read it, and then I bought it and I just didn't read it. I've never read it. I've read Love and Other Words. I've read what's the one? The Soulmate Equation, I think, but I've never read this one, so I need to read this one. And I also heard that they're coming out with a sequel to this. It was just announced recently, so I feel like I need to read this because it's been on my TBR for way too long, and if a sequel is going to be coming out, then I need to read this before that does. From what I understand, it's about these like two people who like, they're like, I think they're like the maid of honor and like the best man of these people getting married, and everybody at the wedding gets sick, and the bride and groom can't go to the honeymoon except for these two. Like they're the only people who don't get sick, so they end up sending these two on the honeymoon together, but they hate each other, so it's a little bit of like hate to love. Yeah, so I think it's I don't doubt that it's good. It's just, I guess I just haven't had time to get to it. Sticking with like romances and like literary fiction, I also wanted to read like the Kiss Quotient series. That has been on my TBR since the beginning as well. Like if you go to my Goodreads, it's probably like one of the first books that like I added to my want to read, and I don't have a single book in the series. I don't know why I've never picked it up. I think it's just been around so long that like I know it'll be there. Is it just me, or do you have a thing where like when a new book's come out you feel like you have to buy it right away, otherwise like it's not going to exist after that or something like that? Like I don't know why I have this thing in my brain like that, but anyway. So yeah, the Kiss Quotient series, I want to read those because they have literally been on my TBR for so long and I don't even own them, which is saying something. I also want to read the Off-Campus and Briar U series. Literally probably the only reason I haven't read it yet is because I hate the covers of these books. I think I'm just gonna ebook them and audiobook them or something because I don't like the covers at all. I don't want the covers, and on the off chance that Bloom decides to redo the covers, I'm gonna wait until that because these covers are atrocious. They're just not good. And I think I had commented on Elle Kennedy's like post where she released like the Graham Effect or something, and it had like a newer version of the cover, and it's like about the kids of one of those books, I think, like Briar, You Were Off Campus. So I'm like, girly, are we getting like new covers? And she said it was up to Bloom. So Bloom, if you're watching this, give us new covers, please. Like I can't. So yeah, I want to read those two because they literally right after I read The Good Girl Complex, I wanted to read all of that hockey romance stuff, but I just couldn't get into it because the cover sucked. The last like contemporary romance kind of thing that I wanted to read was Red, White, and Royal Blue. I've had that on my TBR since the beginning as well. That's like in like the Spanish love deception era, and I still haven't read it. Everybody's talked about it. It's come out in a movie. I still haven't read it. I've heard it's really, really good, and I wanted to read it for Pride Month, but I kind of just forgot about it and got busy, but whatever. I'll probably pick it up soon, but I really do want to read that one because that's been on my TBR for so long, and I've heard that like the politics in it is also fun because I think it's about like the prince of like England and like the son of like a governor or like the president or something in the States, and like they're supposed to be like enemies technically because there's like a feud going on or something, I don't know. And yeah, you know, it's a romance. So moving on to like just like literary fiction, because, or like dark academia type of thing. So one that I have that has been on my TBR for so long, and I've had it for so long, is A Little Life. I had this on my TBR for June, and I put it back on my TBR for July because I want to read it this month. I'm hoping I will get to it. It's very, very long, so it's kind of intimidating. Oh my god. It's literally like 800 pages. It's so long. It's so intimidating. It's probably the only reason I haven't read it yet because I've heard great things about it. I don't know if I'm ready to cry. We'll see. We'll see if I'm ready to cry. But yeah, that is one that I need to read because it's been on my TBR for way too long. Okay, moving on to like mystery thriller type of books. So the first one I have here is The Hotel Nantucket by Elin Hilderbrand. Now I know that this just came out in 2022, but I put it on my TBR as soon as it came out. I bought it. I was like, yes, Elin Hilderbrand, I'm gonna read this. And I didn't read it, and I haven't read it. And I'm like I've gotten so many new books that I've read, but not this, and I don't know why. It's supposedly very good. Elin Hilderbrand writes a lot of like romance, contemporary, chick lit fictions, also like historical fiction kind of thing, but they always have like a mystery element to it, or most of them do, and that's what I love most about her books, is that like you get so much in one book. So yeah, I need to read this because first of all, the vibes, it's summer vibes. Summer is halfway over. I want to read this before summer ends. But there's also so many other like summer books I need to read. When I look back at my summer TBR, it's like, how many have I actually completed? Moving on, we have We Are Liars by E. Lockhart. This, another book that's just been on my Goodreads TBR for so long. I finally bought the book like a few months ago because I was like, this is it, I'm gonna read it. Why haven't I bought this yet? And then I still haven't read it. Like, it's just, I need to read this book. It's a mystery, I'm pretty sure, like a murder mystery, and I'm pretty sure the synopsis on the back is not that great, but I know that like Family of Liars came out, and I think that's a prequel. Ooh. There's like maps and family trees. I've heard amazing things about this book, so I really want to get into it and get into the series or duology. I don't know if it's going to be a series, but yeah. Like, I literally have no idea what it's about. It's my favorite way of going into books, is not knowing anything about them. The next two that I have are Rachel Hawkins books. So I have The Wife Upstairs and Reckless Girls. Now, I'm pretty sure, I thought I thrifted both of these. I got these discount somewhere. And I had seen, like, I've seen these covers everywhere, so when I saw them, I knew they were like mystery kind of thrillers. I saw them, I picked them up. This is like probably a year ago or more, and I've never read them, like never. And I see them all the time, and I want to read them. So I think I'm gonna get into them soon. They're both hardcover, they're in pristine condition. I'm pretty sure I got one on Book Outlet and one at like a book, like thrift store downtown. But yeah, I've heard good things about them, about Rachel Hawkins as an author, so I want to get into them. I've had them on my shelf for so long that I need to like move on. Okay, moving on to my favorite genre, we have fantasies. Alright, the first one on here is A Throne of Glass. Now, I know what you're thinking. Angelisa, this has been on your TBR for like the past like 4 months. Like, why haven't you read it yet? I literally could not tell you. I think I'm scared. I think I'm genuinely terrified to get into this series. I read The Assassin's Blade and it was so good. And I feel like I should have just ridden off that momentum and gone straight into this, but I didn't. And I think I'm scared and I need to read it. Like, I just need to bite the bullet because I cannot move on to my next thing that's my TBR veteran until I read this series. But I also want to do a reread of ACOTAR. Like, everyone's been doing it and I've just been itching to do it because it sounds like so much fun and I just really love those characters and I want to get back into it. So I might like reread ACOTAR in between this because I've heard that they like connect to the new one. So we'll see. But yeah, I need to read this because it's been on my TBR like since I got into fantasy, and I'm glad I read ACOTAR first, but I've just been wanting to read the series for so long. Which brings us to Crescent City 1. Oh my god. Okay, we're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Anyway, which brings us to Crescent City 1. This book is, oh my god, chunky. It is over 700 pages, almost 800 I think, and I've heard it is very hard to comprehend. So we'll see what happens there. But this has also been another one, like as soon as I got into fantasy, I want to read this, and then I learned more about fantasy and I was like, we don't want to read like 8 series at the same time, especially Sarah J Maas universe. So we're trying to do things the right way. So this has to wait a bit, but it's just been on my TBR for so long and I definitely like need to get to it because I'm excited. Like, I'm very excited for this. And then we have Shatter Me. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I haven't read this yet. I think I'm gonna do a reading vlog for the first 3 and like the first 2 novellas or whatever that are in like that first novella book, and then I will do like another reading vlog for the latter half because I've just heard so many great things about this. Alexa Ray did a reading vlog, Steph Brewer did a reading vlog, and I'm just like, I need to do one, and I want to read it straight like everybody else has because it seems like it's the best experience and it seems like you just want to do that. I think it's because the books are like different point of views and some of them are like at the same time, or like just explain things that happened in the book before, so like you want to get right into it. But I can't even open it because I'm scared. I got this book on Book Outlet and the Unravel Me and Ignite Me as well. I think that's the second and third, and then the novella Unite Me as well. So yeah, we're gonna read these hopefully soon. Hopefully soon I do a Shadow Me reading vlog. Stay tuned, hopefully. Another one we have that has literally been on my TBR since the beginning of time is Shadow and Bone and the Six of Crows duology. Why don't I have that in my hand? I don't know, but I'm gonna hold just Shadow and Bone up because I know people say you don't have to read this first, but I want to. I just, something about it, I want to read it first, especially because I want to watch the show and I've heard that it like intertwines the 2 kind of storylines. So I want to read both. Leave me alone. But this has been on my TBR literally since I started reading, and I don't know why I haven't read it. This was like, when I say this has been on my TBR since I started reading, I mean like, yeah, I mean like as a kid when I was like 13. Like I've just, yeah, I don't know, like I remember seeing this in like my school library and like all that stuff and like wanting to read it, and I never did. And when I became an adult again and like the new covers were out and like became a Netflix series, I was like, ooh, I should read this. And I heard about Six Like Crows, so yeah, I definitely want to read this soon. Another fantasy that I want to read, and this literally only became on my TBR as a result of me reading a different book, is The Kiss of Deception, and like this whole trilogy that exists. And this is a prequel trilogy to the Dance of Thieves duology by, what's her name, Mary E. Pearson. Now I don't know why this book feels so heavy considering it's like kind of thin. I don't know why. Oh, it's got a lot of pages. Anyway, when I read Dance of Thieves and Battle of Thieves, like it absolutely changed me. Like my heart just opened up completely. My favorite enemies to lovers ever. I posted literally like 30-minute reading vlogs of me reading each book if you want to go watch them, because I loved it so much. I sobbed. I don't know if I've ever cried at a book that much. Yeah, I definitely have actually. I remember crying at certain books a lot. But this is a prequel to it, and I want to read it so bad. I want to read it so bad. I just want to get back into this world. I want to get back into this writing, just everything. It's a fantasy romance, and I think it's about the queen, who at this point is a princess, but the queen in Dance of Thieves and Battle of Thieves. I think it's about her. So yeah, this has been on my TBR for a while, and I want to read it. Another fantasy that I've had on my TBR for a while is From Blood and Ash, and that like whole series. I see it in the bookstore all the time, and oh my god, I was about to say like I can't buy it, but I think I literally have the first book. I do. I forgot that I bought this like 2 months ago or a month ago, because I was like, this is probably the only big fantasy series that I don't have, and I just realized that I bought it that day because I was feeling it. This series confuses me. I know there's 2 series that like intertwine together by this author, so I'm pretty sure this is the one that you're supposed to start with. But yeah, this has been on my TBR again since the beginning of my new reading journey, and one of the first fantasies I looked at and wanted to read up there with like Avatar and stuff, and I did end up reading it, so I definitely want to read this. It's so thick. It's like 600 pages almost, and it's heavy. Yeah, she's a heavy one. But yeah, she's up there too that I want to read for sure. Another fantasy series that I want to read is the Red Queen series. I haven't heard a lot about it, but I discovered it around the time that I discovered like From Blood and Ash. So that one's also up there in like series and like books that have been on my TBR for literally ever. And I literally have no idea what it's about, like absolutely no idea. I've just heard really good things about it. I'm gonna read the synopsis really quick because I'm actually kind of curious. I'm assuming it's about a queen. Oh yeah, there's like reds and silvers or something like that. I think it's like supposed to represent like racism and stuff. Interesting. It seems like there's like a revolution. It's like a fantasy. I don't know if there's romance in it. Oh yeah, there is. It's a fantasy romance, like dystopia, which is really fun. So yeah, definitely want to read that as well. And then the last one that I have is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab. So I don't have that book. I don't know why I've never bought it. I'm surprised that I haven't. There's been many times where I've seen it and I wanted to buy it. I think it's because there were some really bad reviews on it that like people didn't like it, and I didn't really know what to think about it, or like they found it really confusing, or like it didn't make sense. So I think I was putting it off because I wanted to wait until I like read more fantasy and more like complex books, just so I wasn't like doing the book a disservice. But now that I've waited this long, I think I might, well no, I need to get through my physical TBR, but I do really want to read it, and it's one of those books that has been on my TBR for a really long time, and I would consider a TBR veteran because I feel like everybody has read that book except for me. Those are all of the books that I want to talk about today. These are all the books that have been on my TBR for literally ever, and I thought I would just talk to you guys about them. I don't think I've ever talked about a lot of these because they've just been on my TBR forever, or I forgot they existed. So yeah. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I did a little bit of like a poll on my channel to see what you guys wanted to see from me next. I had a few videos lined up this month to go like in between reading vlogs. Don't worry, reading vlogs are still coming. Someone commented that and was like, reading vlogs? I'm like, yes, I'm doing reading vlogs. But there are times where I want to do other types of videos like these, like sit down videos, and I want to see what you guys want next, and this is what you voted for. So I hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below some books have been on your TBR forever, or you know, you just kind of like haven't gotten around to but really want to. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!